When facing personal struggles, building resilience helps us adapt and thrive in difficult times. To guide us through effective strategies for enhancing resilience, we are joined once again by motivational speaker and coach, Lucia Dramat, to share some practical tips and strategies. Now, Lucia, we've broken down what resilience is and what it takes for an individual to be resilient. But let's say you want to be conscious and active in building that resilience. What are some of those tips we can look for?
Oh, yes. Definitely. The first one is to practice self-acceptance. And when we speak about self-acceptance, we can even say self-compassion. Sometimes if you drop yourself and you don't do the thing that you were supposed to do, you start feeling so hard on yourself. You see, you always fall off the wagon. Why even bother? And if you have that harsh approach to yourself all the time, you might not feel inclined to try again. But if you have the self-acceptance, what did I do in this situation? What was the best route to take? What have I learned out of this situation? Okay, let me give myself some space to be able to take another step here. Let me give myself the grace to grow in this area and take another baby step. You might be so much more inclined to be resilient because you haven't been that hard on yourself and you've given yourself that compassion and acceptance. So that's the first one. The second one is to reframe the situation in a positive way.
Okay.
Sometimes as we face these difficult situations, what happens is we only sit in the negative. We only see the negative side. But when we start to reframe the situation and we say, okay, this is what happened, but these are actually things that I've learned out of the situation. These are contacts that I've made. These are connections that I've made, and I've grown in these areas. So was it difficult? Yes. But have I taken positivity out of it? Yes. And so by reframing, even that difficult situation now becomes a weapon in your arsenal.
But how important is building a good social network and connections?
Yes, I think that is so important. You always feel like you're isolated when you're going through something difficult. But once you have connections, whether it be with your family and your friends, and then maybe a group that is interested in the same thing you are pressing through, or a support group, right? And then you start to find out, I'm not the only one. And that already blows the lid off the whole situation because now you're not isolated. There are other people going through that. You may be able to learn from their experiences. And then beyond that, there's just support. There's people you can talk to. You can blow off some steam and then persevere and take your next step and get ready to get yourself in the position to be able to adapt, adjust, and go for it again.
But at the end of the day, self-care is also a little corner and a safe haven I run to.
Absolutely. And self-care doesn't always have to look at just putting a face mask on and pampering yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes self-care is just getting active, looking after your body, and your body needs that movement and activity. Your nutrition, already those things alone build resilience. If you stick to a self-care routine that really prioritizes your health and your mental well-being and even your emotional well-being, all those things locked into it, it's going to help you be more resilient because you have to wake up every morning and put those tackies on and do the thing
and
you
hit
need
the road.
to do. Yes, there you go. And so that builds resilience, and that is a great way to practice resilience in little scoops every single day.
We also look at problem solving, developing those problem solving skills. We find ourselves in a crunch, we're in a tight corner, it's time for us to fish ourselves out of it. How's the best way to do that?
Yes, there are those two keys. The number one, problem-solving skills. This is something we all have to go through. And sometimes we have to de-escalate situations and say to ourselves, okay, I'm putting it up here, but it's not actually up here. How can I bring it just into practical steps? How can I break this big situation down into step-by-step little things that I can do? Maybe it's a phone call here. It's talking to this person, getting that advice, finding the next step. And when we break these big situations down into bite-sized chunks, if you will, it becomes so much easier to manage. But that could be one thing. And then maybe if you are someone who goes full force in the beginning and then afterwards you start to lose interest, you might have to look at your life and say, hey, the morning is my prime time. That is when I operate. So let me tackle the bigger issues and the things that I might be a little bit more nervous about in the morning so that I know I've given it my highest energy. But you have to strategize your problem-solving breakdown that works for you, making it step by step, using your power and your knowledge and your abilities at the right time to tackle the problem. And once you have that problem-solving structure in place, it'll help you in that adversity to get through the adversity, but to also make it manageable for yourself.
I love that. And something that I also sometimes struggle to manage are my emotions. How is one best equipped with regulating your emotions when you have been challenged with, or whether you're facing a challenge, adversity, or there is a goal or something you want to achieve?
You really do have to take the thought captive. You really have to see, what is the thought that is making me feel this way? And let me see if it is actually that big, because sometimes our feelings are way bigger than the situation. And when we bring it back into reality and you look at it, how am I judging the situation? How am I rationalizing the situation? How am I blowing this out of proportion? If you can look at it like that, you can start to settle your emotions, because you bring your thought basically into the right ratio. You know, sometimes we put our thoughts this big or our feelings this big for a thought that is this small. And so now you're bringing it back into alignment. And there are multiple exercises within mindfulness. But if you feel this is not enough for me, then my goodness, get help. We've got so much help available. You can go sit down and speak to someone who can really help you regulate if you feel that you can't take that responsibility on your own, because you don't know exactly how to navigate this new world of regulating your emotions and balancing it out with mindfulness.
Absolutely, Lucia. It is so incredible. I am just swamped with all of these thoughts that have now... I'm forced to look at myself, reflect on how I've been able to achieve, overcome, and kind of enjoy the journey of life. And you have now also equipped me with these strategies that I definitely, hopefully, can start using almost immediately. Thank you so much, Lucia.
Thank you for having me.
I hope that these practical strategies can help you build your resilience and equip you with the tools to navigate difficult times with ease.